Hi everyone, this is Sean. Welcome back to my channel. Please press the like button, subscribe, share, comment, and please dialogue with each other. It helps the YouTube algorithm. I appreciate all of you. I appreciate all of your support. Hey guys, I just got off of a 12.5-hour graveyard shift. I'm extremely tired, but something interesting happened today, and I am going to talk about it. Keep in mind though that I have to keep some information private. So between me having or being awake more than 12.5 hours last night and me trying to maintain as much privacy as possible, actually as much privacy as required, some of the narration of the events, they might seem a little bit out of context, maybe a little bit strange, but I'm going to do my best as possible to discuss what happened. So last night there was a couple who got into a domestic violence altercation. There was 2 private security officers that were assigned to protect the property, and we'll leave it as that. Well, anyhow, from going from one location to another on their patrol, these 2 private security officers encountered this couple that was having a domestic violence altercation. And as a result, one of the guards handcuffed the male half. The female was not handcuffed. And the reason, after speaking to them, was, well, we told this guy that it was for our safety. It was for his safety and our safety. Mind you, these people were handcuffed in a public area, not on the property where they were contracted to patrol. This incident, this altercation, did not happen on the contracted property. So we already could probably tell that there's some warning signs. The end result is this, guys. The female ended up getting arrested for domestic violence. The male end up becoming the victim. See, in California, when there's 2 parties to a domestic violence altercation, law enforcement they tend to arrest the primary aggressor. That's the person who causes the most damage on the other person. And in this circumstance, the female caused most of the damage. So law enforcement took the female under arrest, or placed her under arrest for a felony, domestic violence. Whenever you leave an injury on a significant other and it's a visible injury, you have felony domestic violence. If you are listening to my presentation and you're already hearing what went wrong, or you're just saying, what did these guys do? What did these 2 security officers do? Like, why? And you're getting frustrated, then you totally understand the law. You understand the private security industry standards. And also, guys, if you know of any other private security officers out there and you want to use this as a training video, please forward this video to them, guys. This is some important training points that I am making in this video. Private security placing this guy in handcuffs essentially places this guy under private person's arrest. What legal authority do they have to put the male half under private person's arrest? The parties were not fighting. They were not engaged in a physical altercation at that time. What authority do you have? So you're placing him under arrest for his safety and your safety? That is a conversation that law enforcement usually makes. They usually place somebody in handcuffs for your safety and my safety if I'm the law enforcement officer. But they have the ability to detain somebody, and when they detain somebody, they don't have to place them under arrest afterwards. What these private security officers have probably done is they've probably taken a couple of criminal justice courses, but they neglected their basic private security certification. In California, we call that the basic guard card course. It's an 8-hour course. And they tell you that you cannot make an arrest unless some of the following circumstances apply. So in this circumstance, because it's a felony, there has to be, in fact, the felony committed, number one. And number two, the private security officer has to have a reasonable belief that that person that they're placing under custody committed this felony. And that is where everything starts going gray and everything starts going south. I know in domestic violence is he said or she said, but guys, this is a wrongful arrest. You guys, these guys could technically be charged, criminally charged, for false imprisonment, which, depending on the circumstances, it could be felony or misdemeanor. Here it'd be a misdemeanor. I don't see the criminal intent, so I don't see them being charged with false imprisonment. I do see false imprisonment on the civil side of this incident. Okay, that's a false arrest. That's a false arrest, you guys. You're placing the wrong person into custody. So that's already an issue. The second huge issue is this. Why the hell, and I'm being considerate with my language, why are you detaining somebody? You're placing someone under arrest when they're not even on your property. And by the way, these two officers are unarmed private security officers. So they're off of their contracted property and they're placing this guy in handcuffs. And this guy is the victim. I have made videos on this particular subject about domestic violence, what you should do, and it's always observe and report. Observe and report, because you don't know who the victim is sometimes. And here it's the male. The male half. The male is defending himself from the female, and I'm not going to go too much into the facts here, but they have no reason at all to put this person in handcuffs. In California, if you place someone under arrest, and this was clearly an arrest, you have to go forth with all the procedures. So you have to let law enforcement know that, hey, I'm putting this person under private person's arrest and I'm delivering this person to you. Now, it's up to law enforcement if they want to accept the arrest. If I'm law enforcement, I'm not going to accept the arrest because this arrest is clearly illegal. It's illegal, guys. To handle a domestic violence situation for a law enforcement officer, there's some significant training that is involved. It's a domestic violence course that's part of the police academy, and then there's continuing ongoing training to help you determine who the primary aggressor is, and also to help you determine whether or not there's a crime that happened. In the basic guard car course, they don't teach you these investigative skills. They don't teach you how to determine who the primary aggressor is. They leave that out, guys, because they don't want private security to be making these types of arrests, especially when it's not on the property that they're contracted to patrol. Guys, I don't even know what else to say. Let me know what your thoughts are on this. Do you think these private security officers were in the right or the wrong? And please forward this video to other private security officers, maybe coworkers, if you're a supervisor. Maybe make this a briefing video if you like. It's not training or expert advice. It's just a topic that you got to discuss. Should you be handcuffing people that are off the property? Should you be telling people, hey, this is for my safety, and this is for your safety as well? What's the procedure involved if you're a supervisor or owner of a private security company? What's the procedure involved when an incident like domestic violence happens off of your property? Do you observe and report? Do you intervene? What do you do? I'm not going to discuss if you actually see a female hitting the male or the male hitting the female. This is an in-progress incident on your property. I'm going to discuss that. Maybe we'll do another video on what you should do, but I'm still swaying on the observe and report procedure for the reason that you see here. It's a bad decision. I don't like to Monday night quarterback, guys, but I saw this with my own eyes, so it's not a Monday night quarterback. It's something that I seen. I am privy to the facts. It was an awful decision. If I was a private security company owner, depending on these two private security officers' past performance, I would consider terminating these employees. At the very least, I would institute our discipline policy, but termination would definitely be some consideration, because now you have possibly negligent retention. If you retain these employees and they continue to make the same mistakes, if somebody ends up becoming injured as a result of their behavior, under the concept of vicarious liability and respondeat superior, you as a private security officer, company owner, private security company owner, you are liable for the actions of your employees. Now, you're not liable if they act beyond the scope of employment. So in my policy, I'm going to describe you are not to engage in any enforcement activity, no private person's arrest off of property. And if your guards, if they end up making arrests that are off the property, that's outside the scope of your employment, outside the scope of your guard's employment. So whatever behavior they engage in, they're on your own. And if you're listening to this, you're a private security officer. If you're exceeding the scope of employment, you are on your own, ladies and gentlemen. There's no insurance company that's going to back you. There's no employer that is going to back you. And they have every rightful decision or rightful discretion to not back you on making an arrest that's off of property. Okay? You technically can make an arrest off property. I just think it's a horrible idea to do that. You lose a lot of the legal protections. You lose some protections that are given to you by the insurance company. They would identify you. They'd cover you in the case of civil litigation if it happens on the property. But I can't think of any private security company insurance policy that will cover you off the property. There's not a lot. So let me hear your input. Let me know what your thoughts are on this. Looking forward to the discussion. You guys all take care and be safe.